Hello and welcome back. This video will take a look at the Islamic Jizya. What's a bloody Jizya, I hear you say. No, it's not a reference to what young Aisha was scrubbing off her old husband's clothes. I'll try to answer the following questions in this video. What is the Jizya and where does Islam command it? Did Muhammad implement the Jizya and is it meant for this day and age? What are the types of Jizya? Who pays the Jizya? How much is the Jizya? And finally, what happens if someone doesn't pay the Jizya? Now I'll start answering all these questions in a minute, but let me point out that I have done another video at the same time as this in a slightly different format. In that one, I take a look at the concept of Jizya in the TV show The Walking Dead. The video takes a look at Negan, one of the biggest villains in TV fiction right now, and comparing his actions to those of Muhammad. Their similarities go well beyond Jizya. That video has a lot of violence and spoilers for the TV show. It's on my new second channel, TMA, and other platforms if you wish to watch it. Links to that video are in the description box, and you'll also find the links on the end screen. This video, however, will aim to be somewhat of a crash course on the topic of Jizya. Yeah, no, there's no affiliation between us. So, let's get going. We hear apologists claim numerous things in relation to Jizya. They'll make claims like, it's like the zakat. As usual, I won't make any claims without backing them up from Muslim sources, which you'll find links to in the description box. So, question 1. What is the Jizya and where does Islam command it? In short, it's extortion masquerading as a tax that is mandated on dhimmi subjects of the Islamic State.
Say what?
Alright, I'll simplify. What the hell is a dhimmi, I hear you say? Many people pronounce it dhimmi, and it basically comes from the Arabic word dhimma, which roughly translates to pact. A more modern meaning would probably be responsibility, meaning that they all fall under the responsibility of the Muslims due to the pact of Jizya. The word Jizya originates from the Arabic word jaza, which roughly translates to compensation. We can understand what is meant by it in the way that it is defined in volume 15, page 149 in the Encyclopedia of Jurisprudence. Now, unfortunately, this source only appears in Arabic, but I'll translate. It says here, Jizya is what is taken from the dhimmis. It is an amount that is contracted for the people of the book. It is derived from the word jaza, as it is considered compensation paid so he isn't killed. The most common form of Jizya is a monetary tax that is levied on monotheistic, non-Muslim subjects in an Islamic state, mainly Jews and Christians. The command to take Jizya from these people appears in chapter 9 of the Quran. Verse 29 of this chapter reads as follows. Fight those who do not believe in Allah nor in the latter day, nor do they prohibit what Allah and His Messenger have prohibited, nor follow the religion of truth out of those who have been given the book, until they pay the tax in acknowledgement of superiority and they are in a state of subjugation. Now the verse is quite clear in its command. It tells Muslims to fight those who don't believe in Allah or Judgment Day, or even if they do believe these things, you still have to fight them if they don't prohibit what Allah and Muhammad have prohibited. And Islam prohibits a very long list of things. Relationships before marriage, to alcohol, to eating during Ramadan's daylight hours, etc. The verse then says you must keep fighting those who are from the other Abrahamic faiths, who it refers to as the people of the book, until they are forced to pay a tax to recognize Islam's superiority and live in a state of subjection and humiliation. But don't take my word for it here. Let's read what the major classical commentaries by Muslim scholars say. Here we have Ibn Kathir's exegesis of the verse, and like always, all these sources are from Muslim websites, and all links to these pages are in the description box, so you don't have to trust a single word I say. You can simply go check everything yourself. So, what does he say? Paying jizya is a sign of kufr and disgrace. Kufr means disbelief. Allah said, until they pay the jizya, if they do not choose to embrace Islam, with willing submission, in defeat and subservience, and feel themselves subdued, disgraced, humiliated, and belittled. Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of the dhimma, and that's a term to describe those non-Muslims paying jizya in the Islamic State, or elevate them above Muslims, for they are miserable, disgraced, and humiliated. Sahih Muslim recorded from Abu Hurairah that the Prophet said, do not initiate the salam greeting to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet any of them in a road, force them to its narrowest alley. So the whole purpose of the jizya is to disgrace, humiliate, and belittle non-Muslims. These three words are key. They come hand in hand with the money that is offered with jizya. Another very well-respected commentary on the Quran by Imam Tabari says the purpose of the jizya is this. It means they are giving money to the Muslims to save themselves from being beheaded. How nice. He goes on to interpret what is meant by the last words of the verse, وَهُمْ صَاغِرُونَ, often translated as subjected, humiliated, and belittled. And I personally think belittled probably fits best. Anyway, it goes on to say what the Quran means by this term. It means defeated and humiliated. By humiliated, it describes them as despicable. Who else do we have? We have the interpretation of Al-Razi, another major exegete of the Quran. What is meant by belittled is that the jizya is taken from them in a state of belittlement, humiliation, and shame. The person must come to offer the jizya in person on foot, not riding an animal. He hands it to a person who is seated while he is standing. His beard is then grabbed and he is told to hand over the jizya, and once he pays it, he is pushed away by the scruff of the neck. This is what is meant by belittlement. Now the jizya is not only in the Quran, it's also in the hadiths that are classified authentic by the vast majority of Muslims. When the Messenger of Allah appointed anyone as leader of an army or detachment, he would especially exhort him to fear Allah and to be good to the Muslims who were with him. And here he would list off the commandments of war, and then at the end he says this: if they refuse to accept Islam, demand from them the jizya. If they agree to pay, accept it from them and hold off your hands. If they refuse to pay the tax, seek Allah's help and fight them. Did Muhammad implement the jizya, and was it meant for his time only, or is it meant to be applicable in this day and age?